Okay, here we go. First off, I gotta address the deja vu you might be feeling. It wasn't that long ago that we had these exact two players on this channel duking it out on a quick shot on this very same map. But I think you'll forgive the repeat when you see we've got a double fan favorite here. I said it last time and I'll say it again, this is a very tough matchup for Bly. Bly's bag of tricks is devastating to a lot of macro bots. But uThermal is a thinking man's Terran. His fundamental understanding of the game is so broad-based, he's kind of immune to creativity. And speaking of creativity, uThermal just went gas first, by the way. That changes the opening dynamic of the game, and we're still in the first minute. Meanwhile, it's hatch first for our Zerg player. Just don't ask me why I adore him so much. You already know the reason. Bly!
Current world rank 40.
Bly is currently teamless. That's right, ladies, he's available. But quick, everyone name your favorite alternative energy. Me, wind, James, solar, you, thermal!
Current world rank 22.
So, both our players are facing their weakest matchup here. Though I'm not sure it's too statistically significant for either player. Rax completes for uThermal, he skips that opening Reaper and goes right into a reactor. Riskier you could say, but we do know how much Thermi loves those early Hellions. Oh, that SCV making his way through the sight blockers on the center of the map reminds me that we are playing this on the map Romanticide. Bly's natural hatch pops in all its goopy glory. Oh, uThermal with the spray paint. Look, it's a little check mark. Perhaps he approves that Bly is opened with the standard build. That's hilarious. You get a check mark. That is so uThermy. It's like the most uThermalistic thing I've ever seen. Bly went for 4 lings and they are now out on the map. He's getting ling speed to go with them. Factory underway for Terran, spending some of that early gas. The Marines are patrolling the main for overlords. Are they going to be in position when the lings get here? Not seeing a Reaper, Bly's decided to use all 4 of his lings to pay uThermal a visit. Everybody hates the dreaded pop-in. I mean, seriously, just call first, people. Okay, uThermal's got a trio of Marines down the ramp. He should be okay here. Bly does manage to delay that command center build. Oh, I see. He's trying to lure the Marines away from the ramp. What a sly fox. He's got another 2 that are coming in right now. Oh yeah, barn door is open. 2 lings in is not a serious military threat, but it will get him the scout. Oh, he also gets an SCV off of it. 1 SCV for 4 lings, not bad. Bly responds to his intel by making 7 drones and a very quick lair. And suddenly I'm a happy caster. I get chills when Bly goes for an early lair. We'll have to see, but we might be in for a treat tonight, people. uThermal's done his reactor switch and he's cranking the Hellions. No surprise there. He is so good with those things, particularly when he's dropping them in mineral lines with medevacs. Bly's Overlord's gonna get the advanced satellite warning on this. He's got himself a roach warren underway, but it's a long ways away. Queens are gonna try to guard that ramp. They shoo away the first 2, but they are vulnerable to a blow-by. And uThermal started that medevac too. Bly's lair gonna complete. It's the Ring of Spikes. Let's see what Bly's gonna do with it. He's gonna start a fast Nidus network. This might be what he did in the recent game versus Sol. If it is, it'll be Nidus worms without swarm host. Low-tech worm. I don't know if this unique strat has a name. Mass wormage or something. Bly starts up roach speed and a ton of roaches to go with it. Hellions are good against a lot of things, but roaches is not one of them. They just cannot do enough damage against that armor. But it's not like uThermal isn't already working on Plan B and Plan C. He's started Stim. There are 6 Hellions looking for a potential blow-by here, but that is a lot of roaches. uThermal sees it and wisely aborts. That gives him some info right there. Nidus is down worm at the natural, but uThermal is on it. The Overlord turns away in disgust. That worm is never getting up. Bly's got a second one in the corner of the natural, but uThermal had a depot there for vision. He pulls his SCVs for the takedown. This one could be close though. Meanwhile, if the roaches are in the Nidus, that means the Hellions can roll right in. Worm completes. Bly transfuses it, but the Marines kill it anyway. But there's nothing to stop Bly from making another worm. Bly's lost 9 drones, but he is gonna get the cleanup. Oh, this game is just nuts. uThermal screening with his SCVs to stay alive. He's focusing down another worm. It gets transfused. uThermal gets it. Bly's queens are inside, but they can't put down any creep without a worm. Bly has tied uThermal for worker kills, and he's taken the lead. Bly's not making more, though. He's just pumping roaches. uThermal has a tank out now. That changes everything. But he is donating a lot of SCVs and losing a ton of mining time. Stim's gonna finish. Bly's going for what I think is worm number 5. It gets up and it barfs out a ton of roaches. There might be enough to overpower the tank. There is. uThermal is scrambling to pop out his next one. This game's an early thriller. Still no creep tuber down. Bly's got the worker lead. He's making 8 more roaches. He drops a surprise worm at the natural. uThermal has to unsiege his tank to deal with that. And yes, Bly's gonna head for the natural. That worm is going to complete. The tank is already on it though. The roaches dive right back in, right before it dies, I think. And Bly decides the main is gonna make a nice consolation prize. His first creep tumor is now expanding, and he's going at the main. He forces a liftoff. Bly has the income lead. He's started redroning. Bly might actually be making this low-tech Nidus worm strat work. uThermal has to lift off and rejig all his real estate here. Neither player has any numeric upgrades. Everybody's just trying to survive the next 30 seconds. That barracks is totally gonna burn down. I don't think Bly's looking to reinforce here. I think he's looking to push his economic advantage. Actually, he's trying for the natural, but that is not gonna happen. Too many Stim Marines are gonna say no to that. Oh, but it's a distraction. Bly wants to snipe the tank. He gets a surround on it. He gets it. uThermal is tankless in Seattle, but does he have enough Marines to clean this up? Bly's trying to make more roaches, but they're not gonna get here in time. uThermal's gonna get the creep tumors, and he's gonna get the worm. He needs that creep to recede so he can get his main down. Oh my god, Bly's got another worm hiding in the natural. I believe that is worm number 8. I'm thinking Bly's like really excited about the new Dune movie. It's like all Arrakis worms all the time. Maybe before the next game he'll watch the new Spider-Man trailer and he'll be like all about the fungal growths. You know, like how the web fluid is kind of like fungal growth. Ah, never mind. Oh, that Overlord got away. uThermal's gonna have to make a Viking just to put an end to the non-stop worms. It's double burrow research for Bly. He's transitioning to tunneling claw roaches. He's also getting his third. I know I say this every time a Zerg does this, but it's not just the cloaked people, it's also the accelerated regeneration that the buried roaches get. uThermal's transition to offense. He's got double medevac drops filled with Marines. That surviving Overlord turned it into an Overseer, and I think he's found a corner that uThermal can't see. It looks like Terran's gonna hit first though. That third is defenseless. Oh yeah, uThermal does not have vision of that worm. It's a 16-gun salute, and that's gonna force the cancellation on that hatch. Oh, Bly made a fake worm as a decoy. I love that. That is really cool, but admittedly also quite expensive. And Bly has to pull back his forces to defend. He can't lose his natural. Oh, and that pullback really cost Bly. uThermal really put the pressure on at exactly the right time, and now he's gonna boost into the main. He's even gonna snag an Overlord while he's unloading. And with supreme multitasking, he shuts down the worm. Submarine ho! The Marines chasing down the tunneling roaches. Bly is not on fire, uThermal is on fire. Bly is supply blocked. Hey, that's my new username. Zug is supply blocked. And uThermal's gonna get another cancellation. He was so down in this game and he is just battling back. He's down 10 workers, but you'd never know it. Down goes worm number 11. That overseer needs to get out of there. But he's stuck with a mini-me on his head. The oversight ability, it doesn't let him move and he can't escape. You can really see the expensive toll these worms have had on Bly. The efficiency is all uThermal, but it looks like Bly is finally going to get his third base up while uThermal is still stuck on 2. uThermal does have +1 attack and he's getting +1 armor, so he's set up to get the upgrade advantage. Oh, it's a more conservative worm for Bly. Maybe he's thinking about a contain, but the problem is uThermal's already out. Bly is double expanding. That might be a way to finally get his third up, because it's not happening here. That's the third cancel on the hatch. And when you kill the drone like that too, you're pretty much up to the cost of an actual hatch. Bly's dropped double evos. He realizes he can't afford to lose the upgrade war. Ooh, worm number 27, probably not gonna make it up there. Man, Bly is loving his worms. Starting to wonder if he's got a case of vermophilia. Yeah, that's an actual thing, people. And don't read into the fact that I know that. Okay, Bly's got a new defensive plan. He's using Ravagers to actually guard those hatches. uThermal is just so prescient though. He goes right after the alternate hatch. The roaches arrive to defend. uThermal's gonna focus down the hatch. He's gonna trade out a bunch of Marines and take the kill. He knows how critical it is to slow down the Zerg expansions. uThermal's got his own third now. He's ahead on bases. He's got the income lead. He's got the worker lead. He's got the army lead. And when you think about how close he came to outright dying, it is amazing. I think the medevac is just a deadly weapon in the hands of uThermal. Forget gun control. We need medevac control. What, you got a problem with things that heal? Kind of. Oh, dude, is he gonna snipe that hatch again? No, he flies by it. Bly has to get a third up or he is gonna get crushed. Oh, Changeling gonna time out. I love this. Watch that Marine. He's like a fan at a metal concert. Rock on, dudes! And then he dies. And he loves it, because the music was that good. Wow, Bly hasn't made a new worm in like almost a whole minute. It might be because he's still got one still up in that containment position outside of uThermal's base. Oh, this is pretty close. Who's got this? I think Bly's got enough to drive them off here. He might actually get that third base up and saturate it. uThermal's getting an armory. He's also making more medevacs, which is really bad news for Bly. Oh, Bly's submarine attempt here is gonna fail because there is a missile turret granting vision. And uThermal's gonna add one more. Oh, the drops just keep on coming. That's 16 more Marines on the way. uThermal's got an army lead of 30, and that's really saying something, because Bly's mostly roaches at this point. And those Marines are enjoying the numeric upgrade lead. Okay, uThermal's grouped up his Marines for one massive force. Bly's got a smaller force of roaches in hiding. Well, healing and hiding. That poor hatch just got up. It's gonna drop. Maybe not. Bly's got infestors out. Fungal growth. If he can chain that, he can kill a lot of Marines here. Remember, you can't pick up a unit that's been fungal. uThermal lost 20 supply in a blink of an eye there. Of course, he's still well in the lead, just maybe not quite as dominant as he was a half second ago. Oh, Terran's making Liberators, and he's pushing out with his tanks finally. Bly could be quite vulnerable to a tank push here. He's all Roach Ravager, not a lot of Lings. And if he had Lings, uThermal's got the Marines to deal with them. I think Bly's gonna need more brilliant fungals if he's gonna survive the next minute here. Oh, another worm in the main. You can't blame a Bly for trying. Oh, the rocks are all unclear. uThermal can get a really good position here. He's not in range of the hatch just yet, though. Bly's trying to get up a Baneling nest. He might be able to use that to chase away the Marines, but he's a long way from Baneling speed. And the Marines are not a long way from killing that hatch. The deed is done. And now the Liberators are going after the other third. It's concentric circles of algebraic doom. Oh, I'll see your pink circles and raise you 2 perfect arcs of corrosive spot. Bly storming down the ramp. He's gonna get that tank. But at what cost? Just to remind you, corrosive biles have a range of 9, but siege tanks have a range of 13. Taking out siege tanks with Ravagers takes a lot of finesse. Bly dumps all his money into a huge round of 11 roaches. Perhaps the Horde method can get him out of this. Also, somehow he's actually tied on upgrades and he's gonna get himself a window where he's in the lead. Oh, it's the hunt for Red October. Oh, very cool. Bly's using the tanks to hit each other. Siege tank splash damage is a friendly fire weapon. There's actually only 7 cases of friendly fire in this game, and the siege tank is definitely the best known. And with the tanks in trouble, Bly is somehow pushing uThermal back. I thought this game was over, but Zerg has life. And I don't mean the player, we don't talk about that guy. And Zerg's about to hit his upgrade window. Oh, spoke too soon. uThermal has his reinforcements at the ready, and they are a scary looking ball of death. uThermal racking up some SCV kills with some hidden roaches. But it looks like I missed that uThermal's Liberator did an equal number of worker damage. Bly's attack is stymied. He's running back to defend. He's down 40 supply. uThermal continues to crank the tanks non-stop. Bly's going for infestors. Can he Athlete's Foot himself out of this? Athlete's Foot, I love the name. It makes it sound like you're really super cool. Oh, so sorry, I'm suffering from genius hand. Yep, I got a bad case of hero eye. Nothing left in the main for that Liberator to kill. Liberators are not permitted to shoot buildings. It's against the rules. I wonder how they explain that mechanically. I'm sure it's a game balance thing, but it doesn't make a ton of sense in terms of the real world. Bly gets supply capped when that hatch falls. Yeah, Bly is in so much trouble right now. He really does need some super fungals. Well, that's some good bile hits. But uThermal can pretty much afford those losses at this point. Bly trying to do what he can without getting into the range of those siege tanks. Both players badly down on drones. Their incomes are suffering at this point. Which means it's time for another worm. Oh, it's in the main. Bly's also trying to sneak in a Spire transition, by the way. Mutas could really change this game up, but he'd have to put so much money aside in order to do that. uThermal with the scan, he's worried about more submarine roaches. uThermal doesn't actually have his third down. Oh, it's blocked. A single buried roach is holding back the Terran economy. Oh, with the scan gone, it's roach torpedoes away. Let's see if this works. The roach pops up and kablamo. The tanks all hit themselves. Looks like Bly killed 1 tank for 2 roaches. And he dropped another one deep in the red. Tanks cost more than twice as much as a roach, so I guess it is cost effective. The problem is that uThermal can bring a ton more. If Bly keeps this up, uThermal's gonna have to see some value in deploying a Raven. Oh, it's a counterattack. Rather than defend, Bly's sneaking across the map. Forget worm teleportation. Bly's just gonna march right across and go for it. Or he's gonna be deterred by a single siege tank. That's unfortunate. uThermal says, if I know where your army is, I know where it isn't, and he strikes. Toe Fungus to the rescue. Those are actually really good fungals. It's just not enough with the sweet line of tanks that uThermal has set up. He's hitting the mineral line, and that is an essential expansion for Bly right now. Bly got over his fear of that single tank, and he took the Terran third. But he's about to lose all his workers. uThermal goes right at them. Oh, there's some irony here. uThermal takes over this game right as he stands on top of his own spray-painted checkmark. Bly with another fungal, but he's lost 9 drones. uThermal picks up his injured Marines and gets out of there. Except that the medevacs get fungal too. Bly just hurling eukaryotic organisms everywhere. It's impressive, but he's got no functioning bases at this point. And he's getting squeezed by tanks on both sides. And his attack on the main is just not happening. Look how many tanks there are. uThermal has killed that Nidus network. Bly's actually got a greater Spire. It's hiding in his natural, but I don't know if he has the resources to make anything with it. Oh, uThermal's going for his Roach Warren. That's essential. Nobody can accuse Bly of being a quitter here. He is fighting to the bitter end. uThermal's like, I told you I'd be back for my check mark. Oh, now he's going for the shiny new Greater Spire. I think he's secretly hosting Bly's hopes and dreams here. I think if he kills that, he shatters Bly's aspirations for surviving this game. He gets it. Bly does not have much left for tech buildings. He charges the tank line. He pulls the drones. uThermal is so ready for this. Bly's down to 10 workers, but he's got nothing for them to mine anyway. Bly might actually win this battle, but he certainly lost the war. He's trying to mount some offense at the Terran force as well, but unless he can, no, it's GG. Wow. The first half of that game was just nuts. A few things to say about it if you care to stay with me. Okay, first things first, just in case you haven't ever seen this zoomed up in slow-mo before, I need you to witness what actually happens when a changeling times out. Its Terran head pops off his body and it erupts out of the armor. It's like, dude, these metal pants are totally chafing me. I need a nap. I love how the SCVs just keep working like nothing's wrong. They're probably like, slacker. Me, I'd be in therapy. Or more therapy. That is seriously messed up. But let's talk uThermal for a second. uThermal has been a beast of late. Is he actually rising into that final upper top tier of players? uThermal spent a lot of time injured last year, and since his recovery, he's really been deadly. Aligulac now puts him as a top 25 player. He made it out of his group in DreamHack Fall Europe, and had a good run reaching round 2 of the finals before dropping to max packs. Keep in mind, only 5 Terrans in the whole world are actually going to be in the DreamHack finals. But let's also talk about Bly, as he's the one bringing us the mind-bending strats, as usual. First, mass worms. I looked it up. Bly actually made 17 worms this game. 17! That's more worms than he made queens and infestors combined. That's 2,500 in resources, 1,250 minerals, and 1,250 gas. That could have been 17 more roaches. But dang, it kind of came close to working, didn't it? It's failed twice now in games we've been watching on this channel, but I really think Bly just crushes lesser players with this tactic. Then there's the submarine roach depth charges he was using to reduce uThermal's tank count. I'm trying to look into the math on that. Both the tank and the roach are armored, so both the tank and the roach take 70 damage with every splash hit. It's even. They're both in ground zero of the blast. As you may know, the blast has less damage if you're further out from it. It's based on a formula. In theory, the roach can take 2 tank hits before it's almost obliterated. It can't survive a third. It's dead on 2 tank shots if a marine softens it up, even just a little. A tank can take 2 splash hits, with the third also finishing it off. It really is comparable to a zealot bomb. It's an expensive way to clear a tank, but it's still technically a net positive. And the way I view it, a tank that has a good siege position over your base, that tank has a strategic value that exceeds its resource cost. Removing it from the board is totally worth it. We always think of units in terms of their replacement value, which is good, that's a key metric. But sometimes a ranged unit that's already in the field in the perfect spot is really worth more. It's not so easy to replace. You know what else is irreplaceable? All you viewers. I so appreciate you guys who come back week after week to join me for these awesome games, so I know I'm not just talking to myself in a closet. I know, I'm just a big softie. So let me just say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.